doing the work she took such pride in. Caroline agreed, though she admitted feeling nervous about Vincent seeing her covered in dust and concrete, doing the physical labor that was so far from the elegant environment of the charity gala. Vincent assured her that he wanted to see the real Caroline, the woman who found dignity and purpose in building homes with her own hands. They exchanged phone numbers again, this time with Caroline carefully storing Vincent's information in multiple places to ensure she wouldn't lose it again. As they prepared to leave the hotel, both felt that something significant had shifted between them, though neither was quite ready to name what that something might be. The next morning, Caroline arrived at the construction site earlier than usual, feeling nervous in a way she'd never experienced before work. She told her siblings about meeting Vincent again, about discovering he was the client for their current project. Emeka had teased her about her billionaire boyfriend, while Blessing had worried that Caroline might be getting involved with someone whose world was too different from theirs. Caroline focused on her work, mixing concrete and hauling materials with her usual dedication, but part of her mind kept wondering when Vincent would arrive and what he would think seeing her in this environment. She'd never cared about someone else's opinion of her work before, but suddenly it felt important that Vincent understand and respect what she did. Around mid-morning, Vincent's familiar black SUV pulled up to the construction site. But instead of staying back and observing from a distance as he usually did, Vincent approached the work area directly, wearing casual clothes and a hard hat, clearly intending to get closer to the actual construction process. Caroline's supervisor, Ibrahim, was surprised when Vincent asked specifically to observe Caroline's work, wanting to understand the technical aspects of the concrete work she was doing. Ibrahim had never had a client show such specific interest in individual workers, but he was happy to accommodate Vincent's unusual request. What Vincent saw over the next hour amazed him. Caroline worked with a skill and precision that commanded respect from her male colleagues, lifting and moving materials that would challenge much larger people, solving technical problems with intelligence and experience. But more than her physical capabilities, Vincent was struck by Caroline's leadership and the way other workers sought her advice and followed her example. During a break in the work, Vincent approached Caroline, his expensive clothes now dusty from the construction environment, his face showing genuine admiration for what he'd witnessed. He told Caroline that watching her work had given him a new understanding of what real strength looked like, that he'd never fully appreciated the skill and intelligence required for construction work. Caroline felt a warmth in Vincent's words that went beyond polite compliments. She could see that his respect was genuine, that he truly understood and valued what she did. For someone who'd spent years having her abilities questioned because of her gender, Vincent's recognition meant more than he could possibly know. But their conversation was interrupted by a commotion at the other end of the construction site. One of the newer workers, a young man named Kemi, who'd been struggling with the physical demands of the job, had made a mistake while operating a concrete mixer, creating a dangerous situation that threatened to damage equipment and potentially injure workers. Without hesitation, Caroline ran toward the problem, shouting instructions to other workers and taking immediate control of the situation. Vincent watched as Caroline coordinated the response, her voice calm but authoritative, her actions quick and decisive. Within minutes, she resolved the crisis, prevented any injuries, and salvaged the concrete that would have otherwise been wasted. The other workers looked to Caroline with obvious respect and gratitude, recognizing her quick thinking and leadership. Ibrahim praised her handling of the situation, noting that her experience and cool head had prevented what could have been a serious accident. Vincent stood back, observing this display of Caroline's capabilities with growing admiration and something deeper, a recognition that he was witnessing someone truly extraordinary, someone whose strength and character went far beyond anything he'd ever encountered in his privileged world. As the workday continued, Vincent found himself completely absorbed in watching Caroline and her team. He saw how she mentored younger workers like Kemi, patiently explaining techniques without making them feel stupid for their mistakes. He observed how she balanced being firm when safety was at stake with being encouraging when someone was struggling to learn. Most importantly, he witnessed how Caroline commanded respect not because of title or authority, but because of competence, integrity, and genuine care for her colleagues. During lunch break, Vincent sat with Caroline and some of her co-workers on wooden crates outside the construction trailer. The conversation was unlike anything from his usual business lunches, These people talked about real problems, real solutions, real satisfaction from work that created something tangible and lasting. Caroline's colleagues clearly respected her, seeking her opinions on technical matters and personal challenges alike. Vincent learned that Caroline had been helping Kemi, the young worker who'd had the accident earlier, to improve his skills during breaks and after-work hours. She wasn't paid extra for this mentoring, wasn't required to do it by company policy, but she did it because she believed everyone deserved a chance to succeed. This wasn't charity or condescension. It was one skilled worker helping another, driven by genuine care and professional pride. As the afternoon progressed, Vincent realized he was witnessing something that would change his life forever. Here was Caroline, someone who had nothing in terms of material wealth, but who was rich in every way that actually mattered. She had purpose, respect, genuine relationships, and the satisfaction of creating something meaningful with her own hands. She was everything Vincent had tried to buy with his billions, but had never achieved. The revelation hit Vincent like a physical blow. He'd spent his entire adult life accumulating money, power, and status, believing these things would eventually bring him happiness and fulfillment. But Caroline had shown him what those things actually looked like, and they had nothing to do with bank accounts or stock portfolios. When the workday ended, Vincent asked Caroline if they could talk privately. They walked to a quiet area near Mary's house, which was nearing completion. The structure was beautiful, exactly what Vincent had envisioned for the woman who'd raised him. But now, looking at it with Caroline beside him, Vincent realized the house represented something much larger than just repaying a debt to Mary. Vincent told Caroline that watching her work had changed his understanding of what success actually meant. He'd built a business empire, but had never created anything with his own hands, had never experienced the satisfaction of solving real problems or helping people in direct, tangible ways. He'd been living in a world of abstractions, numbers, contracts, investments, while Caroline lived in a world of concrete reality. Caroline listened quietly as Vincent struggled to articulate feelings he'd never experienced before. She could see that something profound was happening to him, that his worldview was shifting in real time. But she was also wary of where this conversation might be leading. She'd learned to be suspicious of wealthy people who became fascinated with authentic working-class life as a kind of entertainment or temporary inspiration. But Vincent's next words surprised her completely. He wasn't romanticizing her life or treating her struggles as inspiring poverty. Instead, he was recognizing her strength, intelligence, and leadership capabilities in ways that had nothing to do with charity or condescension. Vincent told Caroline that he wanted to offer her something, but not what she might expect. He didn't want to rescue her from construction work or transform her into someone who fit his social circle. Instead, he wanted to create opportunities that would use her talents and leadership abilities while respecting her values and maintaining her connection to meaningful work. He explained that his companies were expanding into community development projects, building affordable housing and infrastructure in underserved areas of Lagos. These projects needed leaders who understood both the technical aspects of construction and the human dimensions of community building. They needed someone who could work with residents, contractors, and officials while maintaining focus on actually improving people's lives. Vincent offered Caroline a position overseeing these community development projects, with a salary that would ensure her siblings could complete their education without Caroline having to sacrifice her own future. But more than just a job, Vincent was offering Caroline the chance to use her skills and values to make a difference on a larger scale, to build not just individual homes, but entire communities. Caroline was stunned. This wasn't the kind of charity offer she'd feared, where a wealthy person tries to change someone's life without understanding what that life actually means. This was recognition of her capabilities, an opportunity to expand her impact while staying true to her principles and maintaining her independence. But Caroline was also scared. Accepting Vincent's offer would mean leaving the familiar world of construction sites for something unknown. It would mean working closely with Vincent, and she was beginning to recognize that her feelings toward him were becoming more complicated than simple gratitude or professional respect. Vincent saw Caroline's hesitation and quickly assured her that she should take time to think about his offer, that there was no pressure for an immediate decision. He told her that regardless of her choice about the job, he hoped they could continue to know each other, that their friendship had become important to him in ways he was still trying to understand. As they talked, Both Vincent and Caroline realized they were standing at a crossroads that would determine not just their professional futures, but the entire direction of their lives. The connection between them had grown beyond their different backgrounds and circumstances into something that felt both inevitable and terrifying. Caroline asked Vincent why this mattered so much to him, why he was offering opportunities he could give to people with more education and traditional qualifications. Vincent's answer was completely honest. He told Caroline that she'd shown him what integrity looked like, what real strength meant, what it meant to find purpose in work that served others. He'd learned more about leadership and character from watching her handle one crisis on a construction site than from years of business school and corporate training. But Vincent also admitted something deeper. He told Caroline that meeting her had made him realize how empty his life had been, how desperately he'd been searching for authentic connection and meaningful purpose. He wasn't offering her the job to save her. He was hoping she might save him from a life of privilege that had isolated him from everything that actually mattered. Caroline looked at Vincent, seeing past his wealth and status to the loneliness and searching that drove him. She recognized that his offer was genuine, that he truly respected her abilities and wanted to create something meaningful together. But she also understood that accepting would change everything about her life, would mean stepping into a world she didn't fully understand. After a long silence, Caroline told Vincent she needed to discuss his offer with her siblings, that any decision this important had to be made with their input, since it would affect their entire family. Vincent agreed completely, understanding that Caroline's commitment to her family was one of the things he most admired about her. They agreed that Caroline would give Vincent her answer within a week, after she'd had time to fully consider what his offer meant for her and her siblings' futures. But as they prepared to part ways, both recognized that something irreversible had happened between them, that their lives had become connected in ways that went far beyond any job offer or business arrangement. Vincent watched Caroline walk toward the bus stop that would take her back to Mushin, back to her world of responsibilities and challenges and genuine relationships. For the first time in his life, Vincent understood what it meant to care about someone else's well-being more than his own comfort, to want someone's happiness even if it meant his own life might become more complicated. Caroline rode the crowded bus home, her mind spinning with everything that had happened. Vincent's offer represented possibilities she'd never dared to imagine, chances to use her skills to help entire communities while ensuring her siblings could build whatever futures they chose. But accepting would also mean trusting Vincent completely, believing that his respect for her was genuine and lasting. That evening, Caroline gathered her siblings around their small table and told them about Vincent's offer. The conversation that followed lasted hours, with each sibling expressing different hopes and concerns. Emeka was excited about the opportunities the job would create for all of them. Blessing worried about Caroline moving too far from the work and community she loved. Little Chitty just wanted to make sure Caroline would be happy, whatever she decided. Vincent spent that same evening in his penthouse, but instead of feeling isolated by his wealth and privilege, he felt connected to something larger than himself. For the first time, he had offered someone something that wasn't about his money or status, but about recognizing genuine worth and creating opportunities for mutual growth and purpose. The week that followed tested both Vincent and Caroline in ways neither had expected. Vincent found himself questioning everything about his life, wondering if he was capable of the kind of authentic relationship Caroline represented. Caroline struggled with fears about leaving her familiar world for something unknown, even as she recognized the incredible opportunity Vincent was offering. When they met again at Mary's completed house, now a beautiful home ready for the woman who'd raised Vincent, Caroline had made her decision. Standing in the living room that she'd helped build with her own hands, surrounded by the love and care that had gone into every detail, Caroline told Vincent she would accept his offer. But she had conditions. She wanted to maintain connections with construction workers and community residents, ensuring that the development project stayed grounded in real needs and practical solutions. She wanted her siblings to remain in their current schools and community until they chose to make changes themselves. Most importantly, she wanted to build a professional relationship with Vincent based on mutual respect and shared values, not on gratitude or charity. Vincent agreed to every condition, understanding that Caroline's integrity and independence were exactly what made her perfect for the work they would do together. But beyond the professional arrangement, both recognized that they were choosing to build something personal as well, a connection that honored both their different backgrounds and their shared commitment to using their abilities to serve others. The story of Vincent and Caroline was just beginning, but already it had transformed both their lives in ways that went far beyond career changes or financial improvements. They'd found in each other what both had been searching for: genuine connection, shared purpose, and the possibility of creating something meaningful together. As they stood in Mary's new home, looking out at the Lego skyline that connected their different worlds, Vincent and Caroline understood that their story represented something larger than just two people finding each other. They discovered that authentic love and meaningful work could bridge any divide, that genuine respect and shared values mattered more than social status or economic background. Their future together would bring challenges and opportunities neither could fully imagine, but they would face them as partners who truly saw and valued each other for who they really were. In a city of millions, they found something rare and precious: the chance to build a life together based on love, respect, and the shared commitment to using their different strengths to make their community stronger. The story of the billionaire and the builder had become something neither wealth nor poverty alone could create, a testament to the power of authentic human connection and the possibility of finding love and purpose in the most unexpected places. Subscribe to hear more stories about love that transcends every boundary.